Hello and welcome to the next part of the Sci-Fi vehicle. I would like to thank Autodesk for sponsoring this series of videos that help me produce more great content for you guys. So now that I've got some basics out of the way, guys, in the first video we learned about how it can work with splines to essentially get these kinds of designs. In the next video we learned how to rig this basic piston, which we can kind of reuse all over the vehicle. Now let's actually get started with my idea for the vehicle. So essentially what I want to create, guys, is some sort of vehicle that will go around and collect barrels and other equipment and distribute them throughout a facility, for example. So what I'm going to do is go into the create panel and start with the cylinder. And I'm essentially going to start out in the blockout phase. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this. I prefer using something like 32 sides, so I like using 16 or 32 or 64. I think 32 is good for now. I'm going to right click on here to make the height segments 1, and I will increase the cap segments to 2. Alright. Give this a yellow material as well. So essentially this is perhaps where the driver will sit, and then there'll be kind of a back part here where, so essentially this vehicle is going to drive around, pick up objects. They're going to be inserted somewhere here, and they're going to go into the back. And this is going to be shaped vaguely like an insect. I highly recommend using natural designs, incorporating natural designs into your work. So what I'm going to do with this vehicle is I'm going to have a hybrid between kind of a trash truck, kind of a delivery truck that you see, and with elements from military trucks and tanks and things like that, mixed with some sort of ant-like or insect design. And you're going to see this as we keep on working. So this is where the driver will sit. And so when we create the blockout, guys, you don't want to spend too much time on one part. You also don't want to make it too detailed. But you do want to have enough detail to describe what you're doing so it becomes much easier to edit later on. So what I want to do here is create a quick object that represents the seat where the driver will sit, and perhaps some windows as well. So I'm going to apply edit poly, and I'm going to select an edge and ring and connect to and pinch. Then I will approach this from, let's say, the left viewport, but I will switch this to the right. And you can press F3 to get rid of the wireframes, and G, turn off the grid. The reason it's blue here is that we can just switch this to solid color. And press F4 to turn on wireframe mode. Alright, so I can, for example, select this. This is going to be, the driver will sit somewhere in here. There will be a door somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect that. But guys, if we make this our window, it's going to be a little bit too boring. So I feel like we need to spice it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is delete the left half. Alright, and this is going to save me work because I don't have to do two sides simultaneously. And what I'm going to do is use either the cut tool or the connect. So what I'm going to do is to maybe, so I can cut, or I can select two vertices and connect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press M. Now, this video series will only cover the modeling and designing and not the material or texturing or lighting, but I just want to show you how you can, for example, create a multi-sub object right here. All right, I'm just going to plug this V-Ray material into one, but if you don't have V-Ray, you can simply use a standard right here. So I'm going to make this one, this is going to represent the window for now. So I'm going to plug this into 2. We're going to apply this materials. Just remember, 1 is for the yellow, 2 is for the pure black right here. So I'm going to Control A to select everything, and we're going to go ahead and for set ID we'll make that 1, and for this we'll make that 2. And this will allow us to kind of preview where the glass will be. So instead of just having the glass be like this, we're going to make it more interesting but have it be kind of angled, adding some nice simple detail. So then we're going to select these two vertices and connect that and remove this. And I think maybe we'll do the same for this right here. So we're going to go ahead and hold shift, left click, left click. We'll set that to be 2 as well. As you can see, we now just have a more interesting design. And we can imagine there being glass here and a driver sitting here and being able to look out the windows. One more thing that I think will be cool is to have kind of a smaller window right here. So you often see this in trucks. There's like mini small windows all over it. One thing I think I want to do is I want to chamfer this. Once again, just smaller things we can do to make the design more interesting. I'll use uniform and I will increase the amount. I will then select this, or actually let's use a smooth modifier, auto smooth, and that will take care of the smoothing because of the chamfer. So let's also create a small window here. Now, if I start inserting lots of loops through here, you can see how it kind of fails. So what I'm going to do is force it through by selecting this and then using connect edges. We'll have something like this. All right. Now I'm going to cut, say right here, and let's say right here as well. I will select this, grow, and give this 2. So this kind of represents a smaller window right here. You can see this angle is not perfect, so to fix that I am going to recut, or what you can do is select this and rotate this with edge constraints. As you notice, just being able to select different polygons and apply different materials, as you can see, kind of helps you to design, and you can get some interesting things happening accidentally, like this for example. But I'm going to rotate it from this to this right here using this outer circle, which is the screen space rotation, which allows you to rotate according to what angle you're looking at. So as you can see, we just went from this to that. All right. So these will eventually represent windows. We're going to get rid of bad topology as much as we can. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. You can go ahead and hold Control and click on remove. All right. So of course we have some triangles here, but they're not going to bother us. All right. So now we have this nice little cockpit where the driver will sit. Let's go ahead and press Control S to save our scene. All right, guys. A lot of times when you see trucks, you will kind of see a little inner area right here where there's like some sort of pipes and tubes and things like that. So I'm going to have a box represent. I'm going to create a box. I'm going to press Shift A or Alt A, quickly move it right there, and then kind of move it back there. So let's give this a gray material. I'm going to increase the spectral level, increase the glossiness. A lot of times, guys, before I create the fancy materials, I will just use a basic standard material here because I find that it just works very nicely here in the viewport and allows me to see the shapes. So this is going to represent kind of the little connecting body. So if you look at this as an insect, right, you have like the head and then like the thorax and like the abdomen type area. So it's vaguely insect-like design. All right, as for this, I don't know how I'm going to make it yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a big chamfer for now. I want it to be a little bit more, let's say, like this. And once again, smooth and then auto smooth. Now, I'm not going to scale it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to instead select this and just kind of move that up. I'm also going to create one more cylinder, or rather what I can also do is just clone this out and delete everything except the original. And I'm going to give this a red material, so I'm going to go ahead and clone this out, and I will give this red. This is going to represent maybe a toxic barrel or power cell or something else. I'm going to scale this. And I'm going to move this down. Alright, this is going to represent a barrel here. So, alright, so essentially this thing is going to walk around and drive around. I think it's going to have legs that both will have wheels as well as capable of walking. It's going to pick up these barrels. It's going to insert them somewhere. And then this is going to be a device which kind of rotates around, you know, whichever barrel it wants. And it's going to deposit that on the back. So what I want here is some sort of tube that will push the barrel out. So I'm going to have something like this come out of this. All right. And so we're just setting up the basics of the design, guys. No need to focus on crazy details, but we can do things like chamfer this. Now when you chamfer, guys, you can go ahead and hold down Alt, and then once you press your hotkey for chamfer, you can set up a custom hotkey. You can go ahead and press Alt and then move left and right to increase or decrease. Now I'm going to go ahead and that, and then I'm going to go ahead and left click to confirm that and right click to exit out of chamfer. Also going to smooth that as well. So just a very basic detail right here. And I think I want to do something here as well. So I'm going to insert a loop through here and then connect these. I'm going to make this planar on the y-axis, and I am going to just insert loops and kind of move this back. All right, I'm going to select this. I'm going to hold shift. That's going to activate the really nice smart extrude feature and just get rid of that for us. And it still maintains good topology. We can tell it's got good topology because when we subdivide it, there's no strange things happening here. I like to use it as a test for good topology. And we're going to apply symmetry as well. There we go. So this is just the basics. This is just me testing out how this might possibly work. Alright guys, I'm going to create some very basic leg blockouts as well. In order to do that, I will go into here. Right now it's set to a camera view. I'm going to set this to a front view. I'm going to press Shift 1, that's my hotkey for line. And I'm going to just close this line. You can press 1 right away to switch to the Modify tab and go straight into vertex level. Alright, let's fix up some things. So I'm going to Control A, right click and corner. I will select this and delete that. Alright, how can we straighten out these vertices if they're not straight here? Well, you press X for snaps and Alt D for axis constraints. You can tell that's on because there'll be a little circle around here. Alt D, it's off. Alt D, it's on. If you right click, it's available right here to options, axis constraints. You click on the Y-axis to make it active. Now all you need to do to snap them together is to simply left click to start the movement process and let go of this. Now it's even with that. How you can tell? Well, if you select this and look at its position, it's 20.893, 20.893. You can do the same for this as well. Remember, 3ds Max remembers your last gizmo, so if you set the Y as active, it'll remember that. So all you need to do, guys, is just left click and hold, left click and hold, and you can easily snap things like that. Let's Control Z that. All right, so we can quickly even things out like so. Let's go ahead and hold shift to duplicate this. Let's go ahead and decrease the radius. All right, maybe I can select these. Let's do so in a new edit spline modifier, which if we don't like that, we just delete that. I will go ahead and press F, that's my hotkey for fillet, and I'm going to fillet it like so. All right, Shift 1 again, hotkey for line, and I'm going to create a different one here. I just want to figure out where I want to take this. So all right, I'm going to, you can extrude this. You can also, I find, use a shell modifier as well. And it recognizes that I can have 5 for inner amount, 5 for outer amount. If you reapply shell here, it's going to remember those settings as well. So for example, if we want, we can make this one a little bit thinner. Maybe this one a little bit wider. give that the yellow material. Let's also apply shell on this as well. And on that inner one, I'm going to increase this temporarily just so it's visible. And I'm going to give that the gray material. I am going to link this object to this. Now I'm going to rotate it to see about different positions we can have this at. Alright guys, I'm going to have to work on this some more, but what I'm quickly going to do is just link this to this and link that to that. Alright. And so what I'm going to do is to select this and I'm going to duplicate all this to the side just because I want to see how this looks when you have more legs. So if I rotate this, we have this. I'm going to switch this to pick and pick this object. I will also switch this third option, use transform coordinate center. Once you've done those two things, you can actually rotate this using that as pivot. So I'm going to do that. So now when I hold down shift, I can rotate them all around here. Now I can select all these objects. I can symmetry. I can go into mirror and press Shift A or Alt A to move that right there. The reason why I did all this is just so I can quickly show you guys what I'm planning. So I'm going to have something, I'm going to essentially make like a trash truck or a delivery truck, an industrial machine mixed with some sort of wasp, ant design, insect design, something like that. But obviously I'm going to have to work on the legs. But this has been the Blockout, guys. Thank you for watching and take care.